Proceed, please.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues in Congress, magandang hapon. Do we care about the media? How about the men and women behind the media? Journalists, correspondents, announcers, editors, writers, and other media workers. Do we care about their plight? We always say that we care about freedom of speech and of the press. But do we care about the media workers who actually bring us the news day in and day out? Sa kabila ng presence ng iba't ibang social media platforms, nangingibabaw pa rin ang kasanayan at kaalaman ng mga journalists. Sila ang mga taong walang takot at buong tapang na sinusuong ang anumang hamon ng kanilang trabaho sa hangaring makapagatid ng mga balita at impormasyon, lalo na sa panahon ng anumang kalamidad at iba't ibang mga kaganapan na bumubuo sa ating lipunan. While we continue to rely on them to enlighten us about everything that is going on around us, it is very unfortunate that the needs of our media workers have largely been ignored for decades. We obligate them to give us the news 24/7, no matter the cost to their lives, health, and well-being. Being a journalist is more than a profession. It is a dedication, a desire to provide the truth without hesitation, without fear, without favor. They are willing to do that even at great risks to themselves. It is ironic that while media workers courageously fight for the rights of others, they have miserably failed to fight for their own rights. The inherent risks in the media profession are real and personal. In the pursuit of the truth, media workers are subjected to threats, harassment, violence, and even murder from those who want to hide it. Ang mga tinatawag nating journo ay buong tapang na nangangalap at nagbubuwis din ng kanilang buhay sa panahon ng iba't ibang coverage. Hindi natitinag sa anumang panganib at banta sa kanilang buhay, alang-alang sa diwa ng malayang pamamahayag at makatotohanang impormasyon. During the International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists in November 2018, United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said, "When journalists are targeted, societies as a whole pay a price. Without the ability to protect journalists, our ability to remain informed and contribute to decision-making is severely hampered. Without journalists able to do their jobs in safety, we face the prospect of a world of confusion and disinformation." Sa kabila ng banta sa tungkulin ng mga mamamahayag, patuloy silang naghahatid ng mga balita at impormasyon sa harap na rin ng banta sa press freedom. Sa 2017 report ng Asian Institute of Journalism and Communication, nananaig pa rin ang violent attacks sa hanay ng Filipino journalists. Hindi pa rin ito alintana ng mga media workers sa kagustuhang makapagatid na makatotohanan at makabuluhang balita at impormasyon. Patuloy sila sa pagtugon sa tungkulin sa kabila ng mahabang panahon nilang pakikipaglaban para sa maayos na pasahod at security of tenure, bukod pa sa iba pang mga benepisyo. Just imagine a world without journalists. Malaki ang gampanin at ambag ng journalists sa ating lipunan. Sila ang tinatawag na watchdog lalo na sa larangan ng pagbabalita. Malaki ang impluwensya ng media workers sa paghubog ng lipunan. Sila ang mananatiling sandigan ng bawat isa, lalo na sa panahon ng kalamidad at iba pang mga kaganapan na labis na nakakaapekto sa bawat isa sa atin. Sa panahon ng pandemic, kabilang sila sa hanay ng mga bayaning frontliners. Looking back, during the Siege of Marawi, the longest urban battle in the modern history of our country, we would not have known the details of the war if not for our brave media workers who were willing to put their lives at risk to give us the news. Like our soldiers defending our country against these evil terrorist groups. The COVID-19 pandemic also underscored the perils that our media workers face in the pursuit of the truth. Much like the work being done by our health workers in protecting the lives of every Filipino, our media workers have been indispensable in the fight by bringing the latest information about the dreaded virus to our countrymen. In all respects, the media have become united with the government in the war against the invisible enemy. They've become part of the so-called frontliners. Inevitably, they are exposed to health risks and hazards. Let us not forget about November 23, 2009, Mr. Speaker, a day that horrified the entire world. Since that fateful day, we have been languishing in the company of war-torn countries such as Iraq, Syria, Somalia, and South Sudan as one of the top 5 worst countries in the world in the Global Impunity Index of the Committee to Protect Journalists, or CPJ, an international media watchdog. The CPJ's index spotlights countries where journalists are slain and their killers go unpunished. This dubious distinction has caused us shame and dishonor, not only as a nation, but as a people who value and have fought for the right to free speech and of the press since the creation of the first Philippine Republic. The country's ranking is due in part to the deadly ambush of 58 individuals, including 32 journalists and media workers, in Maguindanao on November 23, 2009. The incident would be known in the annals of history as the infamous Maguindanao Massacre, the single deadliest attack on media workers the world has ever seen. These are the kind of risks that our media workers face each day. Sa artikulong nalathala ng Union of Catholic Asian News noong February 7, 2018, na inakda ni Father Shea Colin, tinukoy nito kung paano nagbuwis ng buhay ang maraming bilang ng Filipino journalists mula 1986 hanggang sa maganap ang karimari-marim na Maguindanao Massacre. According to Colin, the killings continue to this day in an attempt to control the message and cover up the truth. Nakakalungkot, Mr. Speaker, na sa mahabang panahon, nananatiling nasa balag ng alanganin ang buhay ng aking kapwa mamamahayag. Bukod sa kawalan ng sapat na proteksyon, humahantong pa sa exploitation ang kanilang employment. Bunga na rin ng kawalan ng sapat na batas na sasaklaw sa media workers. Isa na po rito ang talent-basis employment na kadalasang walang employee-employer relationship, kung kaya't may mamamahayag na rumaraket at kung mamalasin pa, nasasawi at walang anumang naiiwan sa pamilya dahilan sa kawalan ng security of tenure at maayos na pasahod at iba pang benepisyo. As a media worker for 30 years, I am witness to the deplorable state of employment of our media workers. It's a fact that many of our media workers are underpaid and unprotected. Binabarya-barya lang ng mga pinagtatrabahuhan nila. It's a cruel and thankless job. But media workers keep on doing their best because of the desire to inform. The problem of media violence is compounded by the fact that it is a byproduct of the economic vulnerabilities of media workers. These vulnerabilities cause them to be involved in unethical practices. Sa artikulong nilathala ng journalismresearchnews.org na inakda ni Edson C. Tandok Jr. noong August 31, 2016, nagsagawa ang Nanyang Technological University ng survey sa hanay ng 346 Filipino journalists ukol sa tinatawag na mga problemang kinakaharap ng mga ito sa pagtugon sa kanilang tungkulin bilang mamamahayag. Lumabas sa pag-aaral na ang most common concern ng Filipino journalists ay ang mababang pasahod, violence against journalists, at ang kawalan ng akses sa impormasyon at professionalism. Mr. Speaker, the only way to stop this grim cycle is to enact a law that will ensure the professional and economic well-being of our media workers. But is it possible through legislation to give our media workers the employment protection and benefits that they deserve? I believe so. This is why it is high time, nay, long overdue, for Congress to enact the Media Workers Welfare Act. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I wish to call for the passage of House Bill number 2476, or the Media Workers Welfare Act, so that we can put an end to these vulnerabilities and reinforce their duties as defenders of the truth while guaranteeing their safety and security. Mr. Speaker, sa aking karanasan bilang journalist sa mahabang panahon at bago pa man ako mailuklok sa Congress, batid ko kung gaano kahirap para sa mga kapwa ko mamamahayag ang magtrabaho na may mababang pasahod, walang overtime pay, insurance coverage, at iba pang benepisyo sakaling magkaroon ng problema sa oras ng pagtugon sa tungkulin, lalo na sa tinatawag na high-risk coverage upang makapagatid ng timely at makatotohanang balita at impormasyon. I'd like to believe that my election as a party list representative is God's perfect timing. Ginawa niya akong medium upang maisulong ko ang panukalang batas na magsasaayos sa sektor ng media workers sa pagtugon sa kanilang tungkulin, kaakibat ang karampatang pasahod, security of tenure, insurance at health benefits, bukod pa sa hazard pay at iba yung proteksyon sa aspeto ng occupational risks. It's high time that we support this bill because it will benefit thousands of media workers. Mr. Speaker, through the enormous support of my colleagues, particularly this august chamber, these media workers can freely attend to and fulfill their duties and obligations given the existence of an enabling law that will safeguard their welfare and interest. We are the fourth estate, and I firmly believe that it's high time na mabigyan ng pansin ang kanilang mga karaingan. Mr. Speaker, maraming salamat po sa inyong suporta. Mabuhay tayong lahat, 10 na mga kasamahan nating media workers. Diyos mabalos po.
Thank you, distinguished lady from Act-Cis Party List, the Majority Floor Leader.